Excellent. Welcome to Supermemo community. So many lovely people. I have one question to you. On March 27, 2000, incremental reading was born. Immodestly, I would say it was born in my head upon the influence of some repetition, Supermemo, and a little bit of coffee. 25 years later, I can say I've been using incremental reading for a couple of hours per day. What do you think is the effect of this habit on human life, on intelligence, on knowledge, on health? Perhaps I wasted 25 years of 2 hours per day. I see Pablo wanted to speak first. Pablo, I have a question. Do you have lots of experience with space repetition?
Let's say I don't. Actually, I tried Anki for some time, but I have maybe a month experience with Supermemo or something like that.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
yeah, I'm a practical beginner in it.
Lovely. So, what do you think could be the effect on the brain?
What I already noted in myself that I have decreased anxiety when learning stuff because I know, okay, I'm reading a text, I don't need to remember it immediately. I will later kind of do the expert and I'll get to it. That's the one thing I noted in myself immediately. The second one is the
Fantastic.
combination. Yeah. The second
Fantastic.
one,
You know, I
yeah,
forgot about this already. Yeah, there's
yeah.
this total loss of anxiety. It's just you extract pleasure. So in this modern world with social media, yeah, I wanted to say something which I concluded, like discovered a couple of days ago, actually. Something I discovered, which I think provides the ultimate answer and a fantastic soundbite and meme for Palace, hopefully. But yeah, I forgot about that. Pleasure of learning. You just remove anxiety, but just get rid of the overload and focusing on one thing at a time. The flow. Lovely.
Yeah, that one was really a major issue for me because I'm a type input person. I like to get a lot of information. I like to study different subjects and everything. And
Mhm.
always it was like, oh, I need to prepare this. I need to make sure. I need to put it in flashcards and other stuff. So it was pretty anxiety inducing, but with super memo I know it will pop up. I don't need to worry about it.
Excellent.
That's the one really important thing. The second one is also kind of creativity, let's say, because I have different subjects, and even inside one subject I have different let's say books that I'm reading. So it's always interesting. For example, I don't know, I've been studying a little bit of electronics now, and to hear three different analogies about, I don't know, voltage resistance from three different sources, and to finally say, aha, okay, so this is in common with these three. So, like some kind of synoptic reading, I don't know, when you have multiple sources, that was really useful. And also for creativity, as I said, because sometimes the ideas that I didn't think could be combined are combined, and
Yes.
they actually start the, let's say, creativity juices in there. If you take, for example, I don't know, a microphone and a spoon, how can you combine those two things? And you'll
Yeah.
immediately start like, oh yeah, I could maybe make a talking spoon that could say how many calories you eat or something like that. So
Although
it
you have,
certainly,
although you have
yeah,
so many ideas, you will dry out the crowd. Listen,
yeah,
keep some of those ideas for later. So you
yeah.
say
I'm actually
creativity.
done.
Yeah, and you know, just you say that after just 1 month, incredible. But I want to say one word to Krzysztof. Krzysztof, I think you're absolutely essential in this part, and we go back to source code matters maybe when we finish that recording part. But Krzysztof is the guy who knows me, who knows me. We have met 40 years ago, and love at first sight. Even this is a very difficult relationship, I would say. But at the end, he'll be able to comment on my ideas once I make my reveal. But just a little bit of patience, Christoph. Please stay with us. Okay. So Ikem,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Yeah, I've been using Supermemo on and off for about a couple of years, really. And you know, again, there's so much to learn, you know, with you know the both the software and the idea behind the software, and you know, I first actually kind of came across your ideas in that you know now famous Wired article, and I just stored it for years. I didn't do anything with it, but it had really a big impact on me. Yeah. So finally, I kind of like I jumped in and started using it, and again, you know, the obviously it takes a good while to get a grip on it, but very quickly, the thing that I that really impacted me was basically I'm no longer scared of any topic. Yeah, I understand. I always feel stupid, like anybody. When you start something new, you're a child. You're a child
Hmm.
again. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but I always have the feeling that I'm making small bits of progress all the time, and that those tiny bits begin to add up, and then those tiny bits connect to other notes, and then connect to other ideas, and then connect to random things, and then I forget them, and then they come back, and so there's this process of gradual, just kind of like things slowly piecing together,
Hmm.
and my confidence slowly growing. Yeah, and that's why I use it. There isn't another tool that I've ever used like it. You know, for sure. If I have an interesting article and I put it in a database, yeah, I know it's great and I've got it, but it never surfaces and it's always lost. And with this, I always have the sense that I can somehow pull it into my learning process, and then I can see it and reject it or accept it or add another note to it. And so it's this slow kind of building, yeah. And that's why I use it.
And I think it's gonna even get better now, because however smart you are, there's always lots of literature which interests you, but it is so specialist that you just trip on vocabulary or as a specific concept. Now, practically any publication of interest, you start reading, get the first sentence. If you don't understand, just ask ChatGPT. You get the answer. You can unlock the whole universe of knowledge, and comprehension is no longer a problem. That's that's going to be a totally new level of incremental reading. It's artificially intelligent incremental reading. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I always have the sensation that I can be a child again. Yeah, but I also have in terms of my learning. Yeah, I can enjoy my learning. Yeah, but there's always
Yeah.
a kind of a scaffold. You know, right? There's always something to catch me, right? When I fall over, and that this is what Super Memo provides for me. And yeah, it's like I'm like learning some math stuff I don't really understand. Yeah. I went to ChatGPT. It gave me a really, you know, reassuring answer, and now I've imported it into my Supermemo through Supermemo Assistant, right? And so, and I know it's gonna come back in the right moment, and now I'm gonna dialogue on it again. And I'm gonna build a little bit on it again. So it's this tiny pieces slowly adding together. That's what's special about this software and this idea behind the software.
Fantastic. As nobody's raising a hand, which answers some of my question from the previous event, I will give you a little bit of hint, or maybe a prod. Do you think, anybody, do you think some of your school habits have been transformed by incremental reading? Do you think that if you use the procedure, you become a slightly different learner, and your habits transform? Anybody got this kind of experience?
Yeah, Poblado.
Poblado, poblado, poblado. You're on the stage.
Yeah, perhaps you need to check the settings of the mic. In the meantime, someone else.
Oh, I don't see Alex on this on in the audience, but I would hint
Wait,
Alex
wait.
was
We
extremely.
have Paul. No, Paul invite. I thought it was work.
I don't have the privilege to move him to the stage. Never mind. Never
Who?
mind.
Sorry.
Paul,
I accept.
Rabichaud.
Yeah, I accepted Paul. Yeah, raise the hand again,
All right.
please. And
Alejandro.
once I accept you, nice.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Well, I've been using Supermemo for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, so I'm a very new user. But
Excellent.
I found out two things. The first thing is that I read more because when using Supermemo, you get very small chunks of text. I'm talking about incremental reading, so that you beat laziness. So that by doing so, you can read much more than using the standard linear reading. And also because of that, you have that amount of information, interrelated information that I think that you develop a string of messy, fuzzy knowledge, maybe, which is interrelated. And because of that, I don't think you will be able to write the perfect answer for a test in school. But you
Mhm.
will develop a deeper, more automatic, maybe less systematic knowledge. More chaotic, maybe, but in a positive way. So, and this will also promote more, I think, tendency to transfer knowledge. So for schooling, for the current state of schooling, I'd say, in which they want you to write this answer, this specific answer to this specific question, I don't know if that's going to be that good. But if we are talking about having the knowledge, the feeling of knowledge to master a topic so that you can write a text, so that you can develop an answer to a question, to a text commentary or something like that, then incremental reading will beat what you do with linear learning, the reading, and of course with the traditional methods in schooling. That's my idea.
Yes, in my language, what you're saying is that you gain more intelligence at the
Hmm.
cost of detail. But to be clear, if you want to prepare for a test and you want to be detail oriented, you can still do it. But what you say is that you can better generalize, extract what's the value for your specific purpose, and you care about details only then when details matter. So you collect a lot of detail, which you convert into some general rule, which enhances your intelligence. And one reservation yet, Alejandro, you said you're less lazy. I insist the term lazy in terms of in terms of learning was born at school. You're never
Hmm.
lazy. People love to learn. You're lazy only because you don't want to learn the stuff somebody else wants you to learn. You don't understand it. You don't care. So then they call you lazy. You're never lazy. Once you do incremental reading, you find the materials you want. Once when a tool becomes reasonably fluent, so it's not a technological obstacle, then you can say you just tossed away the whole laziness and the learning becomes pleasure. Paul.
So one thing that happens after school, in my own case, I started space repetition when I was done with all my university course and I just wanted to explore topics for pleasure. I started trying to learn books linearly, and it didn't last for long. Very quickly, I was following my own interest, and I realized that the idea of a curriculum dissolved. And the other thing that really transformed me, and which is radically different from school, is that you start to see a unity between all branches of knowledge, where the ideas from different fields start to interact with each others. And that that leads me to be much less specialized and yet You see things that I could not see before.
Yeah, again, intelligence. Intelligence. You just build connections between important areas of knowledge and build coherent models of what you're trying to learn. So yeah, lovely. As nobody's raising a hand, I'll have another little fish. Little fish. Little fish raised his hand, but he's not in the stage somehow. Okay, little fish. So
Can
we
you
are
hear
moving
me?
to the
Yep.
yes, we are moving to the stage when experts come in because little fish is a veteran.
Yeah, it feels a little surreal talking to you. Just first off, thank you for all that you've done. Super Memos changed my life in a super positive way.
Thank you.
Um, but as far as like my journey with incremental reading, I started using it and stopped using it a couple of times before I stuck with it. But once I understood how useful it was, like there's no friction in between like learning something. Like there's no loss. Like when I'm learning something within incremental reading, I know I'm not going to lose my spot or forget this one little important thing. So the problem that I have is that I want to do everything within incremental reading. So like I might find a topic or find an article, put it in incremental reading, read it, and then delete the topic. That still feels better to me than just reading the article like on the internet. Essentially the same thing happens, right? Like the knowledge goes through my head. I don't find anything useful, so I get rid of it. But doing it within incremental reading feels so much better than not. I'm not sure if that's if like
Yeah.
is that how you
Yes.
feel when like when you go through your day-to-day life?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
So
So.
I guess part of my question, sorry, I should have probably asked this in the previous one, but basically I want to have incremental reading like by my side all the time, like a parrot, like how
Mhm.
a pirate has a parrot on his like shoulder all the time. I want incremental reading there all the time. That's not really possible. I have a Surface a Surface, not a laptop, but like it's a little tablet thing, and that's as portable as Supermemo can get with me. But I have my phone and my iPad with me almost all the time,
Mhm.
and so that's my one. Like if I could rub a genie bottle and then get three wishes granted, one of them would be some form of incremental reading on an iPhone, an iPad, or an Android tablet or phone, just because of it's so useful. Anytime I'm not reading with an incremental reading, it feels like I'm losing something.
Oh,
So
that's fantastic. Boost the whole idea of having super memo on the phone. But do you agree with my idea that if you have a small subset of this more repetitive component of incremental reading, would it be okay, or you need to have your whole
absolutely,
collection? Ah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Just as long as it could somehow, even if it was like, I guess in that analogy, it would be like a little moon that orbits the Earth of my main
Mhm,
super memo collection. Just as long as if it feels like I could make progress
mhm.
uh, in incremental reading in some form. Excuse me, in some form, because I try to do that now with a series of like take extracts and put them in a text document that I later copy and paste into Supermemo. But whenever
Ah,
I add friction, that creates points of failure. If something doesn't synchronize or I lose this file or something happens. So like yeah.
I never give promises. I try not to give promises, but you really give me a real incentive. Such an old timer really needs this feature. Me, this is extremely important. Okay, fantastic. I'm super happy.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, look.
Look,
Hello. I really honored to meet you, sir. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything you've done. You've profoundly changed my life.
thank you, thank
Super
you.
Memo, my whole career is because of Super Memo. Everything. I
Wow.
wouldn't have been able to support my family without Super Memo. I use it all day, every day. It's just when I was growing up, I was always told I had every learning disability. I was always the worst student uh, in school. That continued all through college. Then once I discovered Super Memo, was able to become software developer, self-taught, only because of Supermemo. So just thank you so much.
Fantastic. Do you perhaps are a representative of dyslexia family?
Yeah, I was always told I had dyslexia and everything else. I think I just found school really horrible.
So listen, did you perhaps hear of my dyslexia theories, or maybe not mine, because Peter Gray and others already came up with this much earlier. But education dyslexia, when you have problems with reading just because of the pressure of reading early and
Yep.
you know,
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's terrible. But other forms of learning seem completely ridiculous after you discover incremental reading. But I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the priority queue? To me, that is the even beyond the brilliant algorithms, the priority queue is like the magic of Supermemo incremental reading, and something imitators always miss. They don't realize that that is the magic jewel,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
when incremental reading started in 2000, you guess very quickly the amount of material was mounting. They had so much, and then when you start wasting your time on reading something which is marginal, while
Mm,
so many important articles, and I mean, at some point you have to just think what to do. And I invented some super crazy algorithm procedures be outside Supermemo. So I was doing like postpones, advance, mercy, maybe this, maybe that, maybe I'll start from this
right.
branch. Maybe so I was like wasted a year on some very crazy things in Supermemo. I did, yeah, it needs to be prioritized like that. And I was thinking about different parameters of this priority queue that like related to time and the importance. In the end, just conglomerating it all in priority queue seems like a good idea.
That's
Look,
incredible.
did you
Have you
hear?
ever, sorry,
Did you hear that MIT is called a dyslexia university?
really? I did not hear that. No.
It looks like the smartest people, and I think I have the understanding of how it happens. The smartest people, when the most creative, those who have the semantic brain, who reject the garbage, who really want to understand things before they start cramming, those are the main victims. So if you have a slow developmental trajectory, which happens to all smartest people, smartest brains, like Einstein, for example, if you're on a slow developmental trajectory and they start pushing at the age of 5, 6, 7 to read, and yet generate a lot of stress, then dyslexia happens. So the victims,
Mm.
people like Branson, the smartest people are most likely to be victims if they're pushed early and they are on a slow developmental trajectory. So that
Fascinating.
yeah. So
Do you have
that
any thoughts on children with Supermemo? Because I've exposed slowly my child to Supermemo. It's only 4, but I find with kids they feel so bad when they miss an item. It doesn't. It's kind of a difficult method for them.
so we need to talk. We need to talk.
Like
We need to
to the
understand the
weight.
psychology.
Mhm.
Look, generally, I think it must be all coming from a child. You can just say, "Hey, how about this? How about that?" But never go, against the wishes. But you know what? We'll be driving in this direction. But I see other people want to talk. So by
Right. Thank
by
you.
the
You're
time
my hero, sir. Thank you so much
but
for everything you've done.
I love you. I love you. Look, thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
I think that.
Playful cloud. Yes, playful cloud.
Hello. It's
Hello.
Yuliu.
Hello.
Uh, so on the topic of your question, what happens to a person over 25 years of using supermemo incremental reading or spaced repetition? Uh, it seems to me, one, the associative creativity will be very high.
Mhm.
Uh, but two, I think deeper than that, something will happen to the concept network
Yeah.
uh, where mm, just to contrast it with someone who might be in schooling for
Hmm.
12, 20 years, their concept network will be sort of fractured and
Yeah,
isolated, and goes over time. Here in Superman, the concept network becomes like super connected,
yeah, that's exactly.
and the like felt experience of that is that your knowledge has a lot of power in any kind of situation.
I think we're coming
You're
close,
able to
close.
adapt.
Yes, yes.
Like I joke to my housemates that I want to build a nuclear reactor on our property, but now because my concept network, I'm still young. In the future, I feel if I use 25 Supermemo for 25 years, I'll be able to like build a nuclear reactor, not by myself, but like all the pieces I need to bring it together, the experts, like I'll be able to move through a project like that very swiftly
You know there
because
was
of the
there was
network.
there was a teen who already built a reactor and was in serious trouble. I mean, like he tried. I'm not sure how what the feasibility of a reactor. Probably you
Well,
know
I
better.
mean, one one that actually powers like you know like at least a neighborhood, if not a city. I don't mean just an experiment.
Hopefully for a good purpose. So
Sure, different other ideas.
yes, I totally agree. So maybe I'll translate what you're saying to a simpler language because not perhaps not everybody knows what a concept network is. It's actually a term which I use a lot, which is not generally used in literature, because a concept network is like an equivalent of a neural network in which certain nodes crystallize as concept. It also happens in artificial intelligence, but in artificial intelligence, we don't speak of losing nodes. In the brain, concepts crystallize, connections disappear, and actually at puberty, there's a lots of pruning, and the same thing happens in brain, which is generalizing and developing new knowledge and growing its intelligence for a specific purpose. Okay, uh, Poblado, can you speak now? Oh, Blado, we can hear you.
Yeah, no sound.
No sound. Anybody wanted to speak about here?
Feel free to use
So,
text as the last case.
text, a question by text.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe I still ask because we are zeroing in on the how do you say climax of this exchange. Anybody with dyslexia here yet on an audience? Maybe somebody with dyslexia. Actually, there'll be correlation between dyslexia and not wishing to speak in public.
Yeah,
And
that's a factor.
there will be a correlation between dyslexia and incremental reading, paradoxically, because the contrast between what happens at school and what happens in incremental reading is so huge that the dyslexic, despite being not so proficient in reading, may love reading like that with incremental reading. But that's nobody's speaking about dyslexia. Okay, Alejandro, you are dyslexic? Dyslexic?
No, no, no.
Okay. So you wanted to add something to our climactic crescendo?
Well, I just wanted to say before something related to what Little Fish said, that I think that
Mhm.
we would like to extract everywhere and then we will review in front of the PC. I think that's kind of the friction that Little Fish was
Mhm.
commenting. So it's extracting everywhere and then no problems at reviewing those extracts. And of course, they close the relations in front of a PC. I think that could be a good point. I had another comment, but I don't want to steal the conversation, so it's something I can.
If it's not related to accumulating knowledge over with
Well,
incremental, you
yeah,
can move it to a little later.
it's Yeah, it's something related. It's just that, well, I'm a university professor, but I clearly see that university doesn't work with my students. They can't
Mhm,
learn.
mhm.
So I have been thinking for maybe 1 year, if it could be possible to solve that. For the last weeks or month, I've been thinking of if it could be possible or even beneficial introduce incremental reading somehow, but I don't know if that would be beneficial. Maybe it's even worse for students because if you are imposing something, we know that that is not
Exactly.
working. So I have some ideas about that, but I would like to well
You
bring
know
them
what?
here.
if, if I was a lecturer in any subject and I wanted to my students to just taste incremental reading, I would just explain the idea more or less, or perhaps even before each subject lecture, I'll provide like a couple of clues and ideas before the lecture what incremental reading is all about, what are the advantages, and perhaps lecture to lecture there'll be a student who comes up and says, hey, how about me trying this? And that will be my way. Definitely 100% voluntary. Once you start pushing, this is too complex. Incremental is too complex to really attract anyone by the initial push. It must be entirely spontaneous. And the youngest man
Mhm,
I know who have entered incremental reading spontaneously was Dariusz Murakowski, who is the son of Janusz Murakowski, one of the co-founders.
mhm. I see. Yeah, thanks.
I was having an idea what would be I think I would call Krzysztof now. Krzysztof, you know me so well. Are you listening? Just in case, if you're listening, maybe Palace, can you put Krzysztof on stage? Oh yeah, he's listening.
I invited
I would
him.
like to ask Krzysztof. Krzysztof, you can see me. I have always been a difficult guy to work with. Do you see a change in Piotr Wozniak between 2000 and 2025? If you were to answer the impact of incremental reading on a personality, what would be your answer?
I'm not sure I'm the right guy to judge this because I'm not incremental reading user myself. I tried a couple of times and I failed.
Maybe that's good.
I admire the talk that
Dedication.
the talk that I'm listening to here, and
Mhm.
that I admire the experience other people have with incremental reading. I think first of all, it requires some characteristics to start with, and maybe I just don't have these characteristics, or I live mostly in the domain that excludes those good sides of incremental reading. Um,
It- I think
but
Krzysztof.
I think it requires some kind of characteristic which is kind of being immune to the pressures of the world. Yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
you get this kind of patience. Yeah, and which comes with or which allows for a mechanism which you trust to feed you with the right stuff at the right point. And you are not you are immune to pressures which tell you, oh my god, I have to do this at this point. I can't wait for the IR to bring it to me. I have to do this and that right now, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that explains
and
it greatly. You're a CEO. That's a very
and
different mode.
And I think
You,
if I were to judge what's the result of 25 years of using this method, it just solidifies this approach in you, because it brings if you are able to start it and you see the benefits, it only solidifies your approach. That's it.
so the other guys say first thing they observe is less stress. Little fish speak about focus. Uh, Paulo spoke about creativity. All those things translate to saying, instead of learning the old way, I'm learning a bit better. So, like the stream of knowledge coming to your brain and leaving an effect on the brain will be slightly of higher quality because of those psychological characteristic of the learning process itself. So I'm very happy they observe it, and even so early like as Paolo. But it still doesn't answer my ultimate question, Stuff. When you say you're sporadic incremental reader, because you used incremental reading more or less like me used Supermemo on the phone. Yeah, I asked you to, you did it. You asked me to, I did it. So we're like a little bit in different universe. You're a CEO, you have bombarded with the social media and obligations, and you need to do this, that, pressures of the day. That makes it very hard to reestablish this habit. Maybe retirement. Retirement is a good thing because people thrive in retirement if they have fewer obligations. So that will be the main conclusion from those early observations. Better quality of the stream of knowledge. Now, what's the difference between a man who learns a lot, reads a lot of book, or a man who's doing it incrementally? Who got an idea about that? Bill Gates takes twice per year, takes a week. He takes a bag of books and reads a lot of books
Yeah, but not incrementally.
in one go, not incrementally. Yeah. What's the difference with Bill Gates and incremental reader?
Can I just add? I'll return to your question before. You asked Christoph, I think, like, what's the difference in my even personality and stuff, like, because he knows you, but I cannot comment on that part because I don't know you that much. That's yeah, that much. But one thing I noticed is when you had the discussion on dyslexia with William Palace, and it is on YouTube video, and the third guy, I don't remember his name now exactly. Uh, const- yes, William.
Xander.
Xander, yeah. So he was kind of like confronting you, like using. He was kind of like challenging you consistently, and I was thinking, oh, let me see how Piotr will react to this one. Will he kind of like get angry or not? But I was pleasantly surprised that you always switch to arguments. So maybe that's also an effect on the mind, that you recognize that other have different viewpoints and you need to get down to the actual rational argument on the side. So I noted that one, that thing from the video. I'm not sure if it centers into the conversation. Maybe that's one of the effects. Who knows?
I would slightly modify this. I think I have always been reasonably composed in debates, so I don't get upset. But that's the quality. It's very easy to lose over time, over years, especially with a stressful life. So you are likely to develop those bad habits at school. And if you are lucky to leave school with a good habit, still the stresses of life can make you a different kind of debater. I wouldn't entirely ascribe it to incremental reading, although there is a chance that incremental reading itself is providing a kind of shell. So when I need to learn new stuff, I can do it without amplifying those features in the brain, which makes you upset with other people. So I love to be agitated and passionate about things like dyslexia in this case. But I don't see difference of opinions as a reason to see an opponent in a different light. So I think maybe incremental reading is the kind of shell that you like see the whole world as a subject of a debate about a problem. So this isolates you from the sociological, psychological aspects of confrontation with other people. So yeah, I think it's possible that there is a little bit of protection. If you learn with pleasure, if you have a source of pleasure, generally you're a nicer person. People like to be pleased with their lives. If they're satisfied with what they're doing in their lives, they're generally nicer for others. That's granted. So yeah, I agree. I agree.
Piotr, just to let you know that Poblado answers via text in the chat.
Okay, yep. So what's the text?
Well, it's quite lengthy. If you want to read it out loud, more or less, or your
Please read it. I'm not sure how to get to those texts.
ah,
I'm not too fluent.
then one question of whether you feel Supermemo has changed the way you experience learning. Yes, absolutely. I have always been very high achiever, much to the cost of my mental health. During later years of high school, I began researching, learning how to learn stuff, since it was becoming unbearable. I was extremely inefficient, pretty much just rereading my textbooks out loud and memorizing them word by word. Of course, the first sources I stumbled upon were instructivist, which was a bit of an improvement, but not much. In the end, my biggest realization, with the help of Supermemo and Wozniak's articles, was that there is no learning how to learn. There is not artificiality in good learning. There is no telling the brain that it needs to learn through mind maps or through taking notes in a certain way, well, a very specific way. The brain is perfectly capable of learning. It already knows how to do so very efficiently after thousands of years of evolution. All you need to do for good learning is respect your brain, adapt to its mechanisms, and build the learning system that caters to it. That means taking advantage of the circadian rhythm, sleeping well, and leave technology to fix the gaps left by natural evolution, namely space repetition.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Poblado, I still have one question to you. If you can answer in text, do you come from Asian cultures? I'm wondering about this unbearability of trying to be a high achiever, which is highly
Oh,
cultural.
Spanish?
And
Spanish from Spain?
Spanish,
Oh my god.
Spain. Okay, lovely. So no, Spain has no culture of high achievement. So probably it was you or a family and other things. Okay. Okay, so I'll give you another hint because I see we're running out of time. I thought it'd be like 10 minutes, but it's just becoming extremely interesting.
Shall I do my take?
So, say again? Oh,
Shall,
yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
yeah,
Your take. Ness and you. Ness and you.
I know, but let me be the last one then. Nice, if you want to speak.
No, sorry, I just
No,
turned on the
nice.
mic, but it's not.
No, sorry, it's not you. Sorry.
It's not
Ness
the
from Finland.
signal I
Ness from
want to
Finland.
speak. Sorry.
Ness from Finland.
Hello.
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 What was the so about learning with IR? That is the question, right?
25 years later, yeah.
Benefits. All right. I think I agree with everything past people said about IR. Creativity and not being scared of any topics. But for me, pretty big one that can be attributed directly to IR, not just getting obsessed with how to learn better. I think is speed of reading and dissembling the text more sort of discriminately, and that means like instead of reading word by word whole sentences, I sort of discriminate information much harshly, and I jump over words and paragraphs and sentences, and you know it's just different kind of reading this
Yeah.
day compared to my past. I
Mhm.
read by keywords, not word
Yeah.
word by word.
Yeah. And now AI is beautifully formatting text, makes it so easy. You can just get a page of information, you just get the keywords, and you know what the problem is. And I think it comes from habits of incremental reading. That accelerates the whole process, not only of reading, but also of solving problems, processing information. So if you want to get to the truth, you get there faster because of the habits of incremental reading.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Alice?
Yeah, I do agree with what he said. That more than keywords, it's just the mental models. So the words are just a path to activate them. So you reach a point that you don't know what you have read in the literal sense. The precise words you have read are meaningless. It's just activating the mental models. And I think that's the key. So if I would have spent 25 years with incremental reading, it will be it. It will be so easy. You tell me some concept, like Pink Panther that I see now, and all of the mental models that activate extremely quickly. And I have so much redundancy. I can go to many different paths so quickly and easy that it's crazy. It's scarily powerful.
So this would confirm that you agree that this is a good path to intelligence.
Little fish want to speak? That's it.
I would like to add before that, like,
Oh yeah, please.
I think it's yes, like it's such a good tool at shifting bad knowledge, and because we have so much information available in our world and more so accessible by AI, that the habits IR builds by shifting bad knowledge and picking that more valuable knowledge. It's such a good habit and tool to do that.
So basically, we agree. It's a good path to happy multiplication of intelligence. So in that light, I should be extremely disappointed that I should be so intelligent. I have so many ideas, so many great breakthroughs, scientific stuff. Okay, now let's get to the climax.
Oh, the big news. Let's say.
We have like 7 minutes left. Maybe we have the most interesting discussion after I tell you what I have just discovered. So a couple of days ago, I wanted to get some feedback from ordinary teachers and ordinary psychologists and ordinary psychiatrists about the concept of education dyslexia, which basically means this: coercive school is guilty of dyslexia, not any neurodevelopmental disorder, not any heritable problem with the brain, just the school. People have invented school and they generated 100 million of dyslexic and an industry of $1 billion just to force kids to learn. So that's my basic thing. So I translated one of my texts, shortened it a little bit, dumped it on Polish Facebook on one of the teachers' groups. And what I heard in return was the biggest constellation of words like idiot, moron, imbecile, hasn't done any research, didn't even check Wikipedia, didn't ask ChatGPT. Get out from here, man. But this is not the most surprising thing. The surprising thing is that I extremely enjoyed this abuse.
What?
Who can answer the question, what's the psychological mechanism in which people abuse you with the worst epithets? Instead of praising your intelligence for coming up with some good ideas, they tell you you're a moron, you're an idiot, you're a cretin. Who can tell me why I found it pleasurable? Who can guess this?
My guess is that they are challenging
Yeah.
your mental models you created. That no one. So there's no proof, scientific proof for those models, and this confrontation has the opposite effect. So it increases your confidence with your models. They become stronger.
You see, there were some teachers who gave me counter evidence, gave me some publications, and they were inspirational. I did some more reading, yeah, it consolidated my model. However, the majority of the answers were the moron idiot who didn't read. He didn't do any research, basic research. And I found this part of abuse more pleasurable than the part when they inspired more research. So, can you people explain this to me? Why is it so pleasurable to be abused? Why not the inspiration? The inspiration. When I do incremental reading, I can self-inspire. I can go from step by step by step, find things on my own. I can ask artificial intelligence these days. I can follow the links. I can Google for specific concepts. So I can self-inspire. So inspiration is great. I did it for inspiration, actually. I wanted people to just give me counter evidence. But the abuse was the most pleasurable part. Nobody knows that, right? Nobody's raising a hand. So, guys, my theory is this. I am most driven by the concept of freeing kids from school. So I think like I could free the million of slaves from the system, and so exciting. Like they change the whole world. We will have a total different society, global society of intelligent, happy kids, and a society where beautiful is going to be all honey, beautiful world. But then this dyslexia started being even more exciting, and I think I realized that you can do more for 100 million if you're really in strong opposition to the mainstream. Like your ideas can make more difference for the world. And this is so exciting. It like makes you realize, hey, I got something. I get the basic condition is this. You must have self-esteem, which you build through incremental reading, right? Knowledge, you know what you know, you build self-esteem. And conviction that you're absolutely right. You have researched all aspects of the problem. So you're you're okay with yourself and you're confident that you're right. And then when then people start abusing you, then you realize, oh, I hit the gold mine. This is something that can really make a big difference. And interestingly, if you can prove school causes dyslexia, you can also amplify the cause of ending coercion in schooling. So that's my answer, guys. Do you find it interesting, this theory?
Yeah, that's the topic for the third part. Yeah.
I don't know. That's the third part. We have 3 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
I was hoping to have some debate. People saying like, "What? You like to be
Just to
abused?"
mention what said Poblado via text, that this excitement, that this
Um,
pleasure on being abused, feeling abused, is because the war of networks gives you a bunch of adrenaline shots, like in real war.
I disagree. I disagree. I disagree.
I can sense Piotr, you are excited because if we look back, all the great stuff that you gave the world, if I may use such grand words,
Thank you.
was against the mainstream. Yeah, starting from spaced repetition, which I remember, educators looking at us like some guys who landed from Mars or somewhere. What are they talking about? This is against literally it was against the mainstream educational thinking at the time. Then your sleep theory ideas against the mainstream again. Only 5-10 years later, there were it's the stream started changing. So I feel you are excited. You are against the mainstream again, which
Mhm.
maybe will bring some big change to.
But like you, I feel like you are revived by the fact of the encroachment of artificial intelligence and the fact that your work is like more streamlined. Like you can relax a little bit more. The same thing is with me. The progression of self confidence increases. The progression of knowledge increases. So it's much easier. If somebody abused me that the space repetition, the stupid theory, or totally useless theory, I might have taken it differently those years back, those years ago. I still criticism of Supermemo I didn't take so well in 1990s. So the self-confidence increases, self-confidence increases, knowledge increases. So it consolidates all those aspects of being able to find pleasure, of identifying places where you're against the whole community and you can really make a change. So the brain, actually, the brain loves intelligence because if we can make a little huge amendment to the whole education system, that's a monumental change for human intelligence. And when I see this, it's like, wow, we got something. We got something great. It's pleasurable. It's pleasurable. Yeah.
Okay, to wrap up, because now
Yeah.
it's already time. I think what you meant to say is like Newton, that when he said his theory that the earth was not flat, or stuff like that, right? That you're challenging the common sense and the mainstream, and everyone laughs at you, and don't even try to back up your arguments, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
You get the
Giordano Bruno wasn't too excited about having good ideas, or Galileo. They had a different time. Now we can enjoy being against people. Nobody can shoot you or hang you for that or burn you on stakes. So being against the mainstream, it's finally can be pleasurable. That's good for intelligence. Let's have different models. Let's see which one wins.
okay. And one last thing before we move on to the third part in the School Celebrity podcast. We started the second part right away. Just to let you know, this soccer community is a new community, and what, among other things, what we will be able to do is discuss the topics we discussed today that we went run out of time, or you mentioned this on text, was not spoken, stuff like that. So feel free to continue the conversations from now on in this community about self-directed learning and everything that is tool agnostic. Then I will.
Are you still recording? Are you still recording?
Yes. What you want me to stop recording?
Yeah. No. What I'm going to say is that I failed to say the final meme. So
Oh,
if you expect that after 25 years people call you a genius, then you'll be disappointed. Get ready. They'll call you an idiot. That's the soundbite. Incremental reading makes you into an idiot. That's my soundbite for you.
yeah.
You
I
can
will.
stop the recording now.
I will.
That's not really good marketing, Piotr.
See again?
Not very good marketing for Supermemo, to be honest.
No? Let's see. Let's see. Sometimes controversy is good. So, Palace is saying too many smart things. Maybe we need to say something really jarring the nerves, or
Yeah.
inspiring,
Okay. So
or
now
controversial.
in the general chat, you have the link to the next part for your convenience, and it's hand raising as well, just as this part. Shall we do the transition? Okay.
I'm not sure. I will go to the other server. It's now we end school slavery.
Yeah, and exclusive labor. Yeah. See you there.
Okay, I'm going to end school slavery. Okay, talk to you soon.
Yeah.